Call to order the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting for January 27th, 2016. Roll call, please.
Castro,
Right here.
Kroll,
Here.
Katz,
Yes.
Neer, Ruling,
Here.
Wright, Atherton,
Here.
5 present. And I declare a quorum.
So I will ask for approval of the agenda. First, are there any additions or deletions? And I'll take a motion.
So moved.
So moved by Kroll,
Second?
seconded by Castro. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Agenda has been approved. Citizen comments, I open the floor to anyone wishing to speak on anything not on the agenda this evening. And if you'd like, you're welcome to go to the podium. Okay, seeing none, we will move on to the approval of the January 13th, 2016 minutes. Are there any comments, corrections? And if not, then I'll accept a motion.
So moved.
So moved by Ruling,
Approve? Or second, I'm sorry?
seconded by
I'm
Castro.
reading it here.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Approved of the minutes. We start with old business. We open up the, continuing the public hearing on a request by KV and Sons LLC for a special, I'm just really doing good tonight. Special use permit on .34 acres of property for a Dunkin' Donuts with a drive-through located at 460 East Lincoln Highway to be included as part of a multi-tenant strip center, which is zoned CBD, which is a central business district. And I will start, the location, actually, I would like to make a little correction, is 446 to 460 East Lincoln Highway. So we'll start with Derek in the city. Any comments, any updates?
Thank you, Madam Chair. The last time we had this before us and under consideration was back in December. If you recall, there was discussion about the drive-through and discussion about the stacking and the surrounding properties. Owners came out and asked questions and drew our attention to the intersection of Lincoln Highway. Based upon your feedback, we indicated that revised plans would be forthcoming and we would need that time to work through those revised plans so we can bring it back for your consideration with those revisions included. That has happened, and in your backup you have those revised plans as part of the packet that was sent out to you. So essentially since that time, I think we learned back in December that this is going to be, like you've indicated, a multi-tenant building with a variety of uses and users. Back in December, I think it was a multi-tenant building for 4 users. I think now it shows, again, it's been expanded to 5 users. There was also discussion about the patio and modifying the patio to reduce the size and scale of it at the corner to allow for additional landscaping abutting the parking along 5th Street. Based upon feedback through staff, you have also revised architectural renderings and building elevations that show what was distributed tonight as hot off the presses. It arrived to City Hall at about 4:45 or 5:10 or somewhere in there. So very recent. These new plans appear to show the covered patio now instead of an outdoor open air patio. But the patio also has some elements of some lighting and some brick columns that you can see at your stead or at your seat. Along with that, again, the special use is specific just for the drive-through, and that is why it is under your consideration for this evening. And our purpose is to weigh whether this meets the technical merits of a special use permit for a drive-through facility, and if there are any special considerations or conditions that the Planning and Zoning Commission wants to recommend to the council.
Okay, thank you. So, I'm going to go ahead and reopen the public hearing. And I believe we have a presentation or some comments by,
So the petitioner is here tonight. He also brought his
Okay.
team. He brought the civil engineer. He also brought an architect, his architect, to describe these plans. I don't know if Mr. Patel, how they want to do a presentation. Do you want to do a presentation and talk about the changes?
okay. So, when you go to the podium, state your name and your address, please.
I'm Jim Bibby, principal with Rempe Sharp and Associates Engineers, 324 West State Street in Geneva. The Plan Commission would recall when we left off in December, I believe we had summarized a few of the engineering positives that are created by this project. If I could just take a second and kind of re-outline those. It was important to staff that we take a hard look at the circulation number of issues coming in off of Fifth Street that led to a commitment to widen the public alley, which is presently only 12 feet wide. As part of this project, that'll be widened to 16 feet to create width for safe two-way traffic, which it does not have presently. Parking, obviously an issue, created the diagonal stalls, not only off the alley necessary, but also off of Fifth Street as recommended by staff. There were several infrastructure issues that arose through our due diligence, going through the engineering design on the project. In working with the DeKalb Sanitary District, came to our attention that there actually was a partial blockage and collapsed pipe on the sanitary sewer that we would be, our service would be tributary to down the alley. And that physical work has already been completed and backfilled and repaved. That was done back before the holidays. A very aggressive effort by this developer to get out in front on that issue. Also, just looking at the overall design and going to the Plan Commission's comments of December, of course. Now, we've committed to the open patio, shared patio up on the corner. That was open for, important for several reasons. One of those was just the open sight line across that corner. It's not only a very positive visual, but it's very positive for traffic safety and et cetera. And glad to do that, and actually it was a huge positive for the project. I believe in discussion it came up that landscaping across the west edge of the public sidewalk paralleling Fifth Street would be a positive, and that's now shown on the plans, the landscape plan L1, and has already, been routed through staff, that if there's any upgrades on the actual plant material, et cetera, we're glad to look at that. But, that has been added as per the discussion that came out of December's Plan Commission meeting. Other than that, we've reviewed again the stacking capability, the turning radii, et cetera, back with staff. So we feel that we've been working closely with staff for 3+ months and a number of iterations and going through this design, all positive. At this point, we're very happy with the plan and very satisfied and proud to have worked with staff to bring it to this point and bring it to the Plan Commission. If you have any questions.
Okay, thank you. All right, since this is a public hearing, I will now ask if there's anyone in the audience that would like to make any statements, ask any questions. If so, you're welcome to come to the podium. Okay, there being none, I'm going to go ahead and open it up to the commissioners. Questions?
I want a quick clarification here, and I think I read it, but I just want to, if anything, make it very explicit. So in this new iteration, more space has been given, dedicated to the angle parking on the west side of Fifth Street, correct? So now compared to our December discussion, is that correct? Am I getting that right or not?
I don't believe so. I think what you see is a decrease of pavement. The patio size decreased. The parking field didn't increase, but what you see between the two plans from December to January is the addition of that landscaping buffer between the sidewalk and the building that shows up on L1, the landscape plan.
So Derek, I have a question about the landscaping plan. Is there any concerns, and this just might not be feasible? I don't see any landscaping in the front of the building, facing Lincoln Highway. So I'm assuming it just isn't a feasible option. They could put planters or something like that out there like we see downtown,
Correct.
right?
Yep.
And did you say the patio is covered now, or it'll still be open? Okay, okay.
It's an open patio? Go ahead, yeah.
Good evening. My name is Hemal Purohit. I am a licensed architect in state of Illinois. I am representing our client, KV and Sons. There seems to be some confusion about the patio. If you look at the proposed first floor plan, that shows the 5 tenant spaces. It's a sheet A1. In that particular floor plan, at the northeast corner, you're gonna see a patio, almost a square size. And that patio is open to the sky, but at the same time, what we are trying to do is, if you can go back to the elevations, so north elevation and east elevation, you're gonna see the brick pier supporting a brick, a bulkhead, which is the brick veneer, same as the building above it, and you're gonna see the signs up there on colored elevation as well. On the north elevation, if you see, or east elevation, if you see, you're gonna see the store or tenant ID signs. So those are the brick canopy per se that are being supported by the brick pier, which is at the corner of that patio, northeast corner. So this is like a enclosed, nice seating with the street furniture and some planters and decorative grill that you can see in the elevations. But at the same time, it would be open to the sky above. So I hope that helps you understand what you're trying to achieve here.
And there will be an entrance into Dunkin' Donuts off of that patio, correct?
Exactly.
With an overhang on top of that entrance.
Right, we are
Okay.
proposing fabric canopies, green colored. If you see the elevations, you can see again on your colored elevation, there are green fabric canopies. So those canopies will be covering the entrances to the tenant spaces as well as the storefront, fixed glazing.
Thank you,
Thank you.
thank you. Okay, any other questions? Any comments from commissioners?
I have a curiosity on the drive-through, is basically an area, if I'm not misunderstanding this, the cars can go through and take advantage of the drive-through. There is also a parking area there. Do cars park, it's an angled parking. Do cars park in there as they come from the alley, or do they have to go into the drive-through? I'm a little confused about that. This is the easiest question, I'm sure that.
Yes, it is a one-way circulation, so you go through the alley and then turn through, and it's one way out. So, but there is width for 2 lanes exiting, the stack lane, obviously, and the through lane, so that any vehicle that wants to drive straight through can do so, any car that wants to get through to
So,
the,
so if I want to park in that angled parking space.
Yes.
I have to enter as if I'm going to the drive-through. Is
correct.
that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and I can back out even if there's a big, long line of cars in the drive-through, I'm able to back out.
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
So I have a question, stay there, because once you back out, how do you get out?
Once you
Where-
back out, you pull straight ahead onto Fifth. Everybody exits onto,
Well, when
hold
you're
on.
in the alley,
oh, when you're in the alley.
yeah.
go.
And you,
in the
and you
alley
want
parking.
to, you want to exit after parking in the alley.
Yeah.
Uh,
Where do you exit?
You actually have a multitude of options, but you could obviously circle, again, straight through, the right-hand lane going through. The left-hand lane is set aside for stacking at the drive-through. The right-hand lane is through.
Okay.
Just go right through and out on the Fifth.
Okay. Is there another option to get out?
Well, I mean, it's possible to go straight west to the end of the block, going out straight down the alley, yes.
Out to Fourth Street?
But most typically, we would expect 95% of the time that people would just circle through our one-way drive on the right-hand side of the stacked cars and just exit straight back onto Fifth.
Or they can go next to the building from the.
Can you get out onto Lincoln Highway?
It's a two-way alley,
Okay.
even with its width.
I just never,
Yep.
I didn't catch that at the last meeting, so, okay. Thank you.
Which stores are serviced by the drive-through? Is it just Dunkin' Donuts?
Yeah.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, and not Subway,
That's correct.
all right.
So, getting back to, let me ask one more time. Is there anybody in the audience that has any comments or would like to make any comments? Okay, I'm going to close the public hearing. And is there any further discussion amongst the plan commissioners or any further questions with Derek? So I have a question, just because a note in the recommendations. I'm assuming that we have not had any information on decibel levels or the possibility, correct? Like
It-
there hasn't,
There's not residential nearby. It's
So we don't
something
have to-
just put in there.
if we want to.
We acknowledge it, they adhere to it. I don't think there's a study that needs to be done, but I'm being consistent with other drive-through speaker boxes that we've had as a component of the approval.
So how, and this is gonna show probably my stupidity or not paying attention. How far away from a business does there have to be residential for it to, like, for us to really need to consider it? Because there is some residential south of there, correct?
Sure, and there's residential across the street on Fifth Street upstairs.
Right.
There's
okay.
upstairs apartments. You take the reading at the property line, and at the property line is where those decibel levels are measured, and that's where adherence to our noise ordinance would be considered. So we talked about that with the generator for the discussion with the temporary generator at that time.
Right.
But in this case, the manufacturer's specifications would identify what those decibel level ranges are, and
Okay,
it's adjustable.
okay.
So as long as we acknowledge that they're nearby residents, and, you know, likewise, McDonald's is across the street from those residents, but
And a train goes through there.
that's
and-
exactly
yeah,
right, so.
Right, okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, so if there's, go ahead.
During our first discussion of this development, there was at least one citizen that brought some concerns regarding traffic flow in this area. And
Correct.
traffic flow that has been affected, among other things, by the presence of McDonald's there.
Correct.
I don't know if this person also mentioned how the traffic flows from the postal office into the street, Fifth Street or whatever. I mean, are there any specifics that we can address regarding that? I don't know if you can add more to reminding us what that citizen comment was.
Sure. So if I remember correctly, it was the operator of the hardware store indicated that there's a perception, and rightfully so, of that intersection being, she described it as unsafe for the fact that cars are positioned to turn left into the McDonald's drive-through heading eastbound onto Lincoln Highway or on Lincoln Highway. Other vehicles are heading westbound, attempting to turn left onto Fifth Street. And so as you have vehicles stacking, and then you introduce the train where vehicles and cars stack beyond the McDonald's drive-throughs at times, I mean, it's certainly a challenging intersection. I think having this drive-through associated with a Dunkin' would have exacerbated that if it was placed onto Lincoln Highway. Certainly, as a commission, you have the opportunity and the ability to consider additional conditions for approval, if that is something you choose, to try to dissuade vehicles from using that intersection. But it is something that we have talked about at staff, and there's not a great idea to fix it at this point in time. So aware of the situation, and I don't have a solution. We've talked about it. And I don't know that it's, I don't know that it's germane to the special use permit, that whatever is done will fix that situation from occurring. The perception is that the introduction of these additional vehicles coming to this drive-through will only add to that. And so that's the perception that I think that she was attempting to make at the last meeting, is please consider how we can address this at the intersection. But this doesn't directly impact the intersection. Cars have the ability to go right or left currently. If you want to consider additional conditions, that is entirely your charge to do so, if that is something you see as a need.
I mean, I do have to say, is the problem is not something that I have experienced directly, but then I don't spend a lot of time in that area during the day when it's probably
Sure.
more prevalent, more prominent. I'm glad that the citizen brought it up. I'm glad that you have thought about it. I mean, the truth is that when I was reading this paperwork and thinking back about that problem, I couldn't come up with myself with a solution to that problem. And given the development that we have in front of us, I'm really happy that this drive-through is on the back, as you pointed out. I cannot imagine right now how this would exacerbate that problem. I hope it will not, but as it is designed, I just don't see a problem right
Right.
now with what I can imagine the problem is. Again, I'm glad the citizen brought it up. It's something to
Absolutely.
keep in mind in the future. So.
Yeah, and I actually had brought up also too, you know, the cars that use it as a cut-through when the train's coming through town. I've done it. And it can get pretty busy and congested, and that side of town can get very, very busy on certain times, because we've got so much traffic flow with, you know, people coming into town to work, heading to the university, heading out. At 4:45 tonight, it was extremely congested when I drove through there. But it's something that I think is very needed on that side of town. We need some more stuff over there. And I have to admit that the parking on Fifth Street concerns me a little, but, you know, ours is to approve the drive-through. And I too don't know. You know, the only alternative would be to close Fifth Street and then that, or make it one way, or, you know, that area just is a tough area because of the train track. So I definitely concur to the problems that can be there, so. Okay. Any other questions? If not, I'm happy to take a motion.
Actually, I have a small question. I'm sorry.
No,
The
go
one
ahead.
here. Staff makes a recommendation for this conditional approval. This is purely confusion on my part. Number one says approve, so one of the conditions, approval of the proposed drive-through. I mean, does that mean that we have a different, we have to separately approve the drive-through?
No, the special use is the drive-through.
So if we approve, or a motion to approve is not conditioned to approve the drive-through.
I do that when there's more than one item. So I could have said approval of the drive-through condition upon one item, but I don't like laundry lists of one item. So the special use is hereby approved condition upon approval of the drive-through and the decibel level. Just,
Okay.
thank you.
If you understand.
I'm not intentionally making it confusing.
He just wants to make sure we're awake tonight. You guys okay on this end? Okay. So, a motion?
I move to approve the proposed drive-through. Is that all we need to say on this?
Or
What
the
about
special use?
attenuation?
Special use permit.
I'm sorry.
Move to approve the special use permit, but you have to decide if you want to include the noise attenuation.
Oh, what do you guys think about the noise attenuation?
I personally, given the
Yeah.
fact that there's the trains, there's McDonald's, the residential property is displaced, I would actually omit the entire part about having an attenuation device on the noise box. As you said, Derek, it's great to have it in there because in cases where we have residents right next to it, absolutely. In this case, what's the point,
Yeah,
really?
given that there's really no
Yeah.
boundary that we have to watch, yeah, I agree. So we can do a motion just to approve, just a flat-out motion to approve the special use permit?
Special use permit.
Move to approve the special use permit for the approval of the proposed drive-through.
Okay, so we have a motion by Katz,
Second.
second by Ruling. Roll call?
Castro,
Yes.
Kroll,
Yes.
Katz,
Yes.
Ruling,
Yes.
Atherton,
Yes,
5 ayes.
okay, that's approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
And as I have said, this is, we need some stuff on that side of, some more options on that side of town. So thank you for coming up with this plan and bringing some life to that side of town. Thank you.
Thank you, and it's our pleasure too. Thank you,
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you. Thanks.
That's right. We can go there for dinner before our meeting. Okay.
Can we bring a donut to our meeting?
So we, yeah, right, exactly. Donuts and coffee for our meetings. Okay. New business. We have an item on the agenda for, a public hearing on a request by Ron Breeze Jr. for an annexation agreement to annex property to the city of DeKalb and rezone the annex parcels to PDC, Plan Development Commercial, by approving the preliminary final plat and development plans for the subject property on a proposed multi-tenant development at 2023 Sycamore Road. I am opening the public hearing and then turning it to Derek.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As you will see in the backup, there's just a very brief write-up. In talking with the petitioner last week, we're trying in earnest to have everything approved and not in flux by the time it comes to you all for your considerations. And at this point in time, his attorney is reviewing the annexation agreements. Mr. Breeze is working with the surrounding property owners to try to resolve any issues that may have arisen through this process. So at this point in time, we're asking that this public hearing be continued for 2 weeks, or to specifically the February 10th meeting, whereby hopefully these additional 2 weeks will allow for Mr. Breeze to have his application and requests in order for your all's consideration.
Okay. So do we have any questions at this point? If not, a motion to continue the public hearing?
Please, to a date specific.
I move that we continue the meeting for this proposed annexation to February 10th, 2016.
Second.
Motion by Ruling, seconded by Kroll. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Public hearing is continued to February 10th. Considerations or future considerations? None? Does anybody have anything they'd like to report? Do you have any other reports, Derek?
We will be meeting now February 10th.
We will be here February 10th. I will accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Kroll, seconded by Castro. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
You too.